Hi, I'm Peter Huntoon. I'm an artist in love with Vermont. I'm on a mission to capture Vermont's beauty one painting at a time, and I'd love to share that with you. Hello and welcome to another day in Vermont. We're here at President Calvin Coolidge Historic Site in Plymouth Notch, Vermont, and it's a beautiful day. Wow, we're gonna keep it simple. We're gonna set up right over here under the shade of that tree and paint this beautiful general store right here. It's Calvin Coolidge's birthplace. He actually built the countertop in that store with his father. He was born in this I think in the house across the street, but he was sworn in across the street by his father when President Harding died in California. Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Ooh, I could almost get that cheese shop in there, but that's a lot of stuff. We'll see, we'll see. Let's get to work. Well, I'm already starting to plan my composition. The store will be the center of interest. The secondary building in the back on this side, I'm going to differentiate the size a little bit. The church cupola in the back, I may move that slightly to the left to give it a more interesting shape. Porch roof, the steps, 2 chairs, fence, old mailbox, the flag, that wonderful big tree. That old gas pump certainly is a very attractive element, that little dab of orange and that expanse of white. Can't wait to paint this bad boy. Now I'm going to put the chimney pretty much where it is, but I'm going to move the cupola over a little bit so I can get this shifting of white, 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 and more interesting negative space in those areas.
I enjoy watching Peter paint. He just has a freedom and a delight in describing the way he paints and how he observes his object that he's going to paint. And it's amazing. I love the energy that he puts into start. That brush goes all over and you just wonder how he's ever going to accomplish the end piece. And it's always ends up beautiful.
Would the flag look better this way or this way? It's flying that way. Be aware that your frame or mat is going to cover some of it, and I want the flagpole going off the page. there's a little bit of blocky, chunky stuff going on in that sky. I could leave it, or I could just feather it ever so slightly with this or a brush, it doesn't matter.
The thing that I love even more than his painting, which I am in love with his painting style, is his generous nature and how he's so willing and inclined and motivated to help other people to learn how to paint.
Hopefully the guy that actually put this flagpole up doesn't see this painting. He's like, I put that flagpole right in the middle. I mean, how appropriate to have a flag in this painting, right? It's still got a ways to go. Lots of foreground stuff, lots of finesse. I'm happy with the blocking, I'm happy with the drawing, happy with the overall effect. Ooh, look at that open door. That's what I need right there. Another dark. Yes. We're here at Spartan Arena in Rutland, Vermont, and we are about to watch a hockey game, and I'm going to try my best to capture this evening, this moment on an 11 by 14 canvas. And I have to admit, I'm pretty nervous because it's probably the most challenging plein air situation I've ever encountered, but I'm excited as well. So looking forward to getting started, and we'll see where it goes.
Peter is someone who I've admired for a long time. He's taught at the college. He's a graduate of Castleton. And we had this idea that he would come to a game and paint the arena. And for him to be here on senior night with all the parents here and to a band playing up on their balcony to kind of capture what is quintessentially Castleton.
If I'm not mistaken, this is the first live hockey game I've ever been to, so it's very, very exciting watching those guys toss that puck around. This is really one step in front of the other, meaning I really didn't have a preconceived idea of what this was going to be. I'm looking, I'm painting what I see, but I'm also infusing it with what I feel, which is pretty typical of how I approach a subject. So in the end, hopefully the end result will be something that not only looks like the Spartan Arena, but feels like it. And
Peter Huntoon is a very special person, and for him to be here painting the arena, as it were, is a real honor for us.
Well, I think I've got a good block in, which is the main structure, the composition, trying to get a handle on that. The scene obviously is so different than what I would normally paint, but the good news is if as an artist, and this is maybe advice to myself as well as anybody else who is an artist, if you can place yourself in situations that are so totally out of your capability, sometimes you might surprise yourself. My plan right now in the next hour is to keep carving out the big shapes, and in the comfort of the studio over the course of several hours, I'm sure, define some of those details, mainly the figures. I've taken several reference shots of all the hockey players at one end of the goal. I'll pick and choose figures and build a story there with a lot of action. Hi, I'm Peter Huntoon, and welcome to another day in Vermont. We're here today in downtown Manchester at Epic Gallery. This is a true cooperative. We have 16 Vermont artists. Let's go on in and we'll paint something. We could spend a lot of time wandering around, but I'm going to get to my painting soon. But I just want to point out that you know, the woodwork, the photography, the pottery, the jewelry, the clothing, just all of it unique and just beautiful. So I love coming here to work, and in the slower periods of time I do get to do a little painting, and that's what we're going to do today. This is the Arlington Green Covered Bridge, and if I had a theme to work on today, it might be called determination or grit. This particular subject's been on my radar for a while, and I had to climb over rocks, up a stone wall and through the pucker brush the other day to get this shot. As you can see, another couple of weeks when the buds come out, you're not even going to be able to see this. And the other interesting thing about this subject is I'm 99% sure that this was the home of Norman Rockwell for a time. As intimidating, wonderful artist that Norman Rockwell is, I want to do this subject justice, of course. So I'm going to try to go a little bit crazy today. One of the interests that I have in creating art is playing with opposing forces. Lights against darks, and warms against cools, and straights against curved, and soft against hard. Any physical mark that you can imagine possible on a painting, I like to explore the extremes and then integrate the two. and also not only physical marks but also ideas and concepts such as chaos and order. Just now I was playing with chaos, and now it's time to go to the other extreme and play with order. So the order comes from drawing. In this case, I could draw with a brush, I could do a lot of things, but I want to, right now I just want to explore the pencil for a minute. One point I do want to make is, as an artist, you have to make an effort to do your work, and that often means overcoming obstacles that usually take the form of, I don't have a studio. And for the 30 years I've been painting, I've worked in every possible situation, and dank, dark basement with no light. Don't look at a studio of a long-term successful artist and say, I won't be able to paint until I have that. Get started right away. Until you start, you won't start. And that's the bottom line. So we're at a tipping point here. I've got the block in well underway. I've got all the shapes where they need to be. I think we're coming along quite nicely. It's got all the components I was hoping for. I'm glad I went with the vertical format. Thank you very much for joining me for another day in Vermont. We'll see you next time.
We're on the spot with Peter Huntoon on Lefferts Pond, and I've never been here before. It's beautiful.
Wondering if anyone would arrive, waiting for that added to the anticipation that I always have before I paint. A little bit of nervousness, a little bit of anticipation of what could happen. Off we go. This cart is my latest innovation. I have all this bulky stuff that you'll see set up in a little while, and I've tried a couple of different methods of carrying it. So I found this plastic container that is perfect for bulky junk, and I went to Home Depot and got some attachments so I could strap it to the detachable cart. So far so good. This is the maiden voyage, I hear. My original plan was to paint on the Chittenden Reservoir side, and it was just too cold and too windy right off the lake. So we came over here to Lefferts Pond and this is a much better composition for today.
We started out with a cloudy day and then the sun peeped out, which changes your palette of colors from cools to warms.
In a cool light situation, everything's diffused. There's not a lot of shadow. Now the shadow and light are becoming much more dramatic. Oh, Pico, Pico, Pico. Should I do it? Should I do it? Why not? I also like to say, if the painting's not exciting at this point, it's probably not going to be exciting when you're done either.
But I'd never met Peter myself, and I wanted to come up and watch him work. I've always admired his work, and it was really interesting to come up and see how he put his painting together.
Just watching Peter paint is amazing. And, you know, I've never watched someone live do a watercolor like that. And I'm just amazed at how he brings the shapes that look like a blob at first into detail.
It was a work in progress the whole time, right up until the end. It was nice.
Today was our first on-the-spot painting with Peter Huntoon, and I had a blast. It was a lot of fun to have some folks around to ask questions, and I was able to share this experience in a way that is perhaps deeper than just the final painting. Thanks for joining me on another day in Vermont, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. like to personally invite you to join me for A Day in Vermont, a weekly email featuring a brand new painting. As a way to say thanks, I draw 2 free print winners each month. Please subscribe today.
Vermont PBS, partnering with local filmmakers to bring you stories made here. For more, visit vermontpbs.org.